one hurricane in Florida. Yeah, this morning, states of emergency are issued in North Carolina.
Remember, it's important to have.
Coming down now. So let's turn out to Casey Baylor. She joins us on the roads in our weather vehicle this morning. Casey, today, just the beginning of what we'll see this week.
Okay, let's see. Oh, I know it's early in the morning, so we're all up early this morning. But I just want to make sure that my thing to you all is to be competent over competitiveness. We've gone overboard with competing, except for the Olympics, of course. But you got to be competent in what you're doing. Okay, so what I want you to do is to understand that it is better to have faith than to have preacher religion. You know, your dedication is to your faith and not to that person that God uses to stay in the house. We are to reverence them, we are to give them honor, but we are not to worship them. We only worship who? God. So I just wanted to say that for clarity purposes. And I want to tell you to keep your hands, feet, and other objects to yourself. Remember, human sex trafficking is still our theme for this year to stop. And gun violence also is to be stopped. And also girl to girl and violence is to stop. And we know there's a list of objectives I'm going to put down on my website of the things that we are to work on to stop the violence about. We have to stop the madness and to falsely accuse people and to mistreat people is not, and we do not believe in suffering. Do you understand? So there are people who are wackos that still believe that somebody is supposed to take somebody and sacrifice them and burn them and do all kinds of crazy mess that that's not supposed to be done. Okay, we still have those out here that are just that off. And I told you not to do that to those girls. Okay, you can and be careful even with the women who you leave your girls with. I would keep my girls just as close. And remember, the church is something to celebrate. We have to celebrate children that we have been 50 years of teaching against child molestation in the church. And so we give ourselves kudos for that. And all the teachings from Woman Thou Art Loose, right on up to Joyce Meyer's Battlefield of the Mind, right on up to Noel Jones. It's just a lot out there. So, and then on the secular role of dealing with that. So we have not stopped the banner on that. Okay, you cannot have children do things to you that are wrong. You know, you just can't. And I know you're wondering why I'm bringing that up to you. It's that we're moving into those goals and objectives to remind you for the year. Okay. And it's election year. It's an election year. So we want to remind our officers who are running what our goals and our objectives are. So I cannot have that. Please stop that. Okay, that's what. Okay, the Witcher Cynthia. Did you see? Do you want me to expose you up here? Okay, I can't have. That's what I'm saying. It says right now. I'm reading from the book Power by Rhonda Byrne. I want you all to get that book. Check it out. It says, do not waste one moment in regret, for to think feelings of mistakes of the past is to reinfect yourself. Let me read it again. So, do not waste one moment in regret. 4, to think feelingly of the mistakes of the past is to reinfect yourself. Isn't that powerful for what we've been talking about today? It says that if you waste your moments living in regret and going back over and grief, you will reinfect yourself with what the problem was. And you don't want to do that. If God has brought, if you are a murderer and you're not murdering anymore, God has brought you past that. If you are a sex offender and you're not sex offender anymore, then God has brought you past that. If you are an overeater, and you're not doing that anymore, God has brought you past that. So if you are an immature person, an immature saint, and you have decided to grow up into Him, then God has brought you past it. If you were not wise in the past and you're wise now, so that's what I'm saying to you. Thank God and don't reinfect yourself. And I am so glad that Neville Goddard, he did 1905 to 1972 is when he lived, and he said that statement. So it just encouraged me to know that it was confirmation of what God had put in my heart to say to people who are in my classes, people who are have listened to my messages, and others who I support. um that is where it's at. You don't want to reinfect yourself, and you don't want to get with others that are cliquish, and because those cliques turns into cults, and you don't want to belong to cultic type activity. The White House has a whole list of people that are violators that way, and they get those calls all the time, and they're on watch all the time. So don't think it's strange, just like the Bible said. So um, I'm very happy for you all that God has brought that about. You know, um, I heard a singer that talked about change and what change that God has brought this wonderful change all over me. Everybody wants that testimony, and we do not want to overburden people with our lack of responsibility to uh, deal with our own sin nature. We have to tell that thing where it's going to go and what it's not going to do anymore. You know, and people, you used to hear that the devil's busy, but it's people that is busy in the wrong way and the wrong manner. They want your no matter how good your child does, or what they achieve, somebody will bring up something in their past from them growing, and try to knock it down. But see, the thing about it is, God did it. You understand? Through them. So you can't take away God's work through them. You understand what? That's a waste of time and a lack of reverence on your part. So grow up into God and mature. And for those who have been saints a long time, I've been watching. You want to live just like other people. You want to take the sheep's clothing off and live just like under them. But when you live like other people, you take the risk of what? Wounding and hurting in a way that you shouldn't. Because it makes you deeper into the lust. Because you got delivered. It says that if you are delivered from something, them demons come back 7 times what? More. So be careful for what you ask for. You might say, I've been holding this, but I think I want to be a Baptist because I want to get by with a little more. And those people see that they do. Be careful of what those demons will bring you down. And you're going to wish you never left your place of position because you couldn't say, well, now, flesh, I'm going to check with my calling. I'm going to check with who I am. And I am not going to get off course and out of purpose of from where God has had me at. So make sure you remember that. Now we're in the book of Daniel. How exciting it is, and walking through this thing within the book of Daniel. I'm telling you, it will bring you up, and it will open your eyes. So I'm going to invite you to really get back in there and dig deep. It says that Belteshazzar, another Daniel, rose up because Belteshazzar got into pride and he died. He walked off. Uh, he had to leave his job. He had to leave because he got off in pride and he wanted to follow uh, in a different path than what his job description said. He wanted to do his own thing, and 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 it was very important that he stick with that job description. You understand? So we can't get off in pride. We have to stay with what that lesson plan of that job description in life when we're learning and we're navigating life and we're asked to do a particular job. And he was asked to lead a nation of people, and he chose to and drink too much and party too much and lose his focus. Now I know within the county that I particularly am resident in, you got some young and you got some minority leaders. And in other words, there's some young Timothy's here. And you have to stay focused on that job description as to what you're supposed to do. And you have to say, for God I live, and for God I die. In other words, when I look at that form and say, I doubt myself, and when I look at that job description and say, God, I'll do it for you and not what my flesh thinks. And because I know that's important. I know it's important for government. I know it's important for business. And I know it's important for my family. So, and you have to look at it just that way. So, uh, when you, okay, she cannot do that, sir. Okay, I know. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I can't talk. Okay, fine. For those of you, do not copy me. Do your own message. God will give it to you. Okay? You just hear me out. Fine. Uh, That's what all I'm saying, Chloe. It says that right here. It says every good feeling unites you with the force of love because love is the source of all good feelings. So if you're not feeling good about yourself and you're mistreating somebody, then love is not the empowerment that you are using. You have to go back and say, is this a love factor? And love factor is not sex. If sex come up first, you already off course. It should be brotherly love, sisterly love. Correct. Okay, excuse me a minute. Okay, yeah, I told you all not to be serious like that. I hear you're having them to go down on the door. And these men here, which is wrong. So I told you guys here. Right here. Okay, right. She tried to do it to me. Who did? Chloe. Uh-huh. Yeah, you're going to respect him. This is Mr. Andre because. Okay, so okay.
So this yellow area is one of the highest risk for some big split tornadoes will anywhere from Norfolk up through Hampton, Williamsburg, and to the west and south.
He's a pastor. It does a pastor. So Chloe, you don't do sex things. So Douglas is wrong. And he's totally wrong. And his mom is wrong. So you cannot do this kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm writing you down as a doctor. Because you know that. You know not to follow through, huh? Okay, fine. Because that's what, okay. Okay, Chloe, we cannot do kids like that now. I know that. And I can't do hers. And you shouldn't use hers. But see, they're white, uh-uh. You should. That's what you should have done to her. She's a violator. You protect people, but from violators. Right? You don't accommodate her. Bam! Get out of here. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You foul spirit. Get out. You know, I didn't call her name, but she got to get the hell out of here. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You're just trying to stop my teaching. You're just trying to stop the study of the book of Daniel. And I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And how people can take that and do an excellent job on their job. So get that foul spirit out of here. And don't you ever put a child at your bottom again. Do you hear? Bam! Get out of here. Depends on you. She's not saved. So how can you depend on her?
We increase our rainfall chances, but we also increase them.
Okay. To correct you, she's not saved. And it's all in my video. That's perfect that you had me children. See, I'm wrong. Okay. I'm sorry. So I rebuke you. Okay. I cut her thing. I didn't have a right, Joe, to do it. It says right here, Neville Goddard said another good thing. He said, be careful of your moods and feelings, for there is an unbroken connection between your feelings and your visible world. Your feelings and there are some people that just will not grow up. They think it's funny if they hurt your children. They think it's funny if they steal out your pocketbook or steal and laugh about it. Those are crazy folks, and they don't even know they're crazy, and they get what clicks and say, how many of us can get together and do this to someone? And they're off. So we have to realize in this day and time, there are still people like that, but we don't worry. God said, worry and sin not. Don't worry and don't sin by worrying, because those things can be dealt with by a measure of faith. Okay, so that's what I'm telling you. I want you to understand. But okay, I did not want God. It says, don't struggle to change the circumstances of your life. Give love through your good feelings and what you want it to appear. In other words, that's another word for faith. It says, it if you don't even see it, if you have the faith of the mustard seed, it will come about. So people will try to do little things to you and your children to make you give up. And I'm saying, if you are a child right now and you are even in an abusive situation, fight your way out, because God is with you. That person that is trying to defeat you, they are wrong. You understand what I'm saying? They are, what they're trying to do is trying to dominate you instead of Christ. And see, God is saying, I created Psalm 91 for you, and I created Psalm 51 for them. And you got to understand that evidently what is on the inside of you is something that they cannot reckon with, that God has gifted you, and that you have a calling, and that your election is sure, and that God has stored up treasure for you, and they're trying to steal it from you. But God says no. And where they are trying to take the canker worm would take it from them and devour it from what they try to steal from you. And that's the word. It is. So it's better not to steal from somebody else, but let's say, Lord, I thank you, because what God has for me, He has for me. And I thank God I never had to steal. I know one day I was at school. I didn't have any money. I was hungry. I didn't have any food. And I didn't know if I was going to make it today. Want to follow my parent. It was just one of those days that it just didn't come together and I didn't have what I need. And I was so hungry and so thirsty. And I, something told me to get bold. So I stood my little self up and I said, "I'm sorry, can I go to the cafeteria, please? And it's just something I need to ask the lady." So I went, I got my little self up and I went on to the cafeteria. And I had anemia as a child. So, you have your times where you're slumpy and all that stuff. And I happened, and that was the nicest lady when I walked in there. And they claimed that was a mean woman. But that woman went back there, got me a little orange juice, got my little cracker, got me a little plate for the day, and I sat down. And she said, "Why didn't you eat earlier today?" And I didn't want to tell what happened. I said, "Just somehow I missed it." And she fed me anyway. And I mean, I had, instead of me having one juice, I had two. God, it's like that, you know, and you never know who God will use, really to bless you like that. And I know it's 50, 60 years later, and I still remember that lady being that nice to me to this day. So it's like when people try to steal food out of your baby's mouth, God will fix it. Do you understand? Uh, he will fix it and you will not go without. And even the soldiers here, I heard a story of a soldier. I mean, and he has served his country. And he came to a town, a small town, and he walked in after serving his country. And he walked in and he was hungry and he was famished. He had just got on a plane here and he didn't even know where his family was stationed. And he said, "If you would just give me a morsel of food, I'm sorry, we don't give people food or anything." And he told them that he just returned to town and they wouldn't uh, feed the man. And he just came, and it's people here today that would not feed a soldier that risked their lives for them. So it has been a challenge to have an extra plate at your table, but at these restaurants, you need to have an extra plate for that soldier that has served. Just place it there, and God will bless you for your faithfulness. Because I'm trying to tell you, there are more right people trying to do wrong than do right in this day and time because they feel that that's the business sector. They're furthest from the truth. They feel that this is how they're getting along in their entrepreneurship, and it's furthest from the truth. If you want to know how to do well in business, you need to open that story back up to the rich one, you ruler, and the prodigal son, and you need to read it. I'm sorry, you can't treat the students like that. Fine, we can't have them do that, ma'am. She's on their bench. You can't do students like that, okay? And you can't. Okay, their food can't be, Okay, fine. So see, that's what I'm saying to you. I didn't mean it. Okay, I'm wrong to have done this to Deanna Forbes Jones. It says a relationship can be on a happy, joyful, exciting, satisfying, every good feeling frequency. A relationship can also be on a boring, frustrating, worrisome, resentful, depressing, and every bad feeling frequency. Any outcome of that relationship can happen. And the way you feel determines exactly what will happen in a relationship. Whatever you're feeling you are giving about your relationship, exactly what you will receive back in the relationship. So what you get and give and how you perceive, you receive. You will receive. If you're feeling joyful about the relationship, most of the time you are giving love and you must receive love back and joy. That is the frequency. A change of feeling is the change of destiny. So if you want more love in your relationship, you have to show more love. If you want more respect in your relationship, you have to show more what respect. And and um for many of us need to know really what love is. Love is not abusing. You say you my sister, but you're abusing my child. That's not love. You say you're my sister, but you're stealing my child's lunch money. Right? You say you're my sister or my brother, but you're stealing out of my child's bank account. Uh, all kind of things that we you say you my sister, but you scored my child a bad grade when it should have been a good grade. So a lot of us say that we're all these things. You say you my sister, but you see me having a hard time or difficult time with the elderly parent, and but you're not here to encourage them, me, or anybody, but you're here to pick out and pick on and to be pick out on somebody else. And you know that people are full of gossip and you know who they are. And they are the most unhappy people, and they're not happy until they make you happy, and their happiness is short lived. It says love is the most powerful and still the most unknown energy in the world. In other words, you say you know what love is, but you don't. But it's a power. We talked about for 2 years the fruit of the spirit, and that they were empowerments. And still, people today still don't know how they're actualized and how they're done. It says love is the force that moves you. So that's what I'm saying. I have God on my side in this situation right here. I told you to stop hurting this girl's children. Was her a long time ago. Then this Friedman, this lady, I am an Andre. You're not. You learn how to love. Okay. We're cutting that out. There is something, uh, someone that has tried to cut in here and cut across, and we know all about those voiceover machines. Uh, so just stop it. Okay. It says that force of love. Love is an element which, through physically unseen, is the real. My child has better destiny. It is an acting, living, moving force. It moves in waves and currents, and like most of the ocean. Mr. Miller Ford, we thank you for that. Okay, I'm gonna touch bases back with you all later on. Remember the book of Daniel. Remember to get the book of power. We're gonna be reading excerpts out of there. And we've got 2 books on power, and I'm excited about what God is going to do, how he's going to keep our mind, even in the midst of this election. It says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. And I'll see you next time. End stream. End stream. Okay. End stream. Okay.